Hello, everybody. It's Girl Got Game, and welcome back to another Gander episode. Today, we are checking out the visual novel Once Upon an Earl. This was an entry for the Otome Jam this year, and it was brought to my attention by Oishi, and I apologize if I mispronounced your name, but Oishi reached out to me via email about this, and I was like, yeah, I would love to check this out, because I had seen a little bit about it on Twitter already. And I'm very excited to see what it's got in store for us. The story is in a world that wants women to whisper. Noelle Culpepper shouts from the top of her lungs in dissent. The 19th century has arrived, and with it the headstrong countess of the Culpepper name. Looked down upon by her peers for pursuing an education and wanting the same rights as a male, she tosses aside the identity of a woman for the one that will carry her to fortune and fame. Earl Culpepper. Alongside her butler Everly, her history as a woman is lost to the era of the Culpepper name. With both their histories gone and their fortune assigning them as secret underground investigators to the Queen, what villain couldn't they apprehend while keeping a secret? Little bit of black butlery vibes there. Not much, just as far as like being secret investigators to the Queen, but it's there. The Phantom Menace strikes. Those are the bold words plastered across newspapers flung into the restless hands of rich and poor alike. With the Queen's men unable to apprehend him, it was time for them to take to the pedestal. That is, until Noelle is faced with having to reawaken the feminine side of her, lost for a decade, to incarcerate him. Play as Noelle Culpepper, currently known as the Earl, who grudgingly casts aside her fake identity as the Earl to attend the ball where the Phantom is striking next. Will she and her butler be able to apprehend the Phantom Menace? Or will she be led astray? Dun, 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 dun. I had to. Hearing Phantom Menace, all I can think of is Star Wars. So yeah, that's the story that we're getting into here, and I'm very excited to check it out. So let's begin. There's our lovely Earl. A ring made of the shiniest diamonds, a rare painting of several angels, a goblet lathered with jewels. Goodness, this list is impressive. How many times has this phantom thief slipped through the tips of our fingers? A sigh escapes my lips as I reach for the cup of tea situated next to the letter on my desk. It is brewed to perfection, as always and expected. The calming scent of Earl Grey wafts up my nose, quelling some of my irritation. Taking a sip, I pick up the newspaper once again, skimming through its contents. In bold letters, the headline reads, "The Phantom Menace Strikes." Indeed, the Phantom Menace strikes once again, and along with it an abundance of rumors. As if on cue, just as I finish my half-hearted remark, a knock resounds from the door. I look up at the door for a brief moment in response before bringing my attention back to the newspaper. "You may enter." The door promptly opens upon my words, revealing a well-dressed man whose hands are resting on his chest as a greeting. His head is also dipped slightly, as a butler should be. "So, whatever brings you here, Everly?"
"I have simply come to see if you are doing all right, as it seems you have not left your room in quite a while now, my lady. Would you care for an afternoon dessert by any chance?"
If only I had the luxury to enjoy a dessert at this time. Unfortunately, I have been preoccupied with all of these recent heists that have been the center of attention. Everly's tone is light, and I can see his lips pulled into a polite yet subtly teasing smile.
"So you are aware of the news, my lady?"
Oh, hello, voice acting. Let me remind you that while I may not be able to go outside, I am by no means a hermit simply living under a rock.
"Indeed, such is the burden of keeping an important secret. Should I address you as Sir instead from now on, perhaps?"
I narrow my eyes, a frown forming on my lips. You are already fully aware of my situation, are you not? As such, you have no reason to address me as something you know I'm not. Despite my irritation, which I don't bother in the slightest to conceal, Everly gives a meaningful smile that is laced with mild amusement.
"I hope you can accept my apology, my lady. I can assure you what I said was purely unjust."
Oh, if that was truly in jest, as you say, then it should be within reason for me to receive a formal letter of apology from you on this matter.
If a letter of apology is your wish, I will write one with full compliance, as you know.
As you can see, I already have enough on my hands to read at the moment. I have no need to add an apology letter to that. I wave my hand in a dismissive gesture, once again turning my attention back to my desk and picking up the letter. Dear Earl Culpepper, please excuse me for my lack of greeting, but I presume you have already heard about the ongoing incidents involving the Phantom Menace. His antics have brought my closest confidants to a dead end, leaving no traces of evidence. The Phantom Menace has been causing excessive mayhem that needs to be stopped. I hope you understand the dire circumstances, but I must request your immediate assistance. You will be compensated a minimum of 100 guineas, possibly more should the Phantom Menace be in our hands apace. Sincerely, Name R. Attached to the letter is a calling card as well. I flip the letter to view the card. It does not contain any particularly useful information that could contribute to this case, but nonetheless I skim through it. A small treasure surrounded by golden vines, an emerald green lake shines bright. Yet for most its beauty goes unnoticed, for it remains hidden from prying eyes. Perhaps the time has come to liberate it from its cage, cut it from its ties, and let it serve someone new. I can't stop a small chuckle as I set the calling card down as well, and it is at this moment Everly chooses to speak.
It would appear your help is requested by the Queen for you to handle the predicament regarding the infamous Phantom Menace, my lady.
The Queen requests me to do it. Oh, how distrustful she must be toward her loyal corgis. Truly tragic, I must say.
The Queen has dispatched them to investigate the case, but the results were fruitless. As such, she is now turning to her watchdog. Or perhaps it would be more accurate to say her poodle.
Well now, I digress, as I will take this case that has been stumping all of the upper class for quite a while now. I shake my head, placing the letter back down before muttering to myself. Goodness, to think they have now pushed all the work to me. Though my words are meant to be a complaint to myself, Everly ends up hearing me and responds to my comment.
How low they must stoop to be incapable of catching the Phantom Menace on their own, despite all of his flashy and eccentric methods.
Although it somewhat pains me to admit, I would have to agree. They seem to lose all trails whenever the Phantom Menace is involved. His name is truly fitting. He simply comes and goes, leaving no trace behind him, keeping his identity hidden beneath a mask. He even has the audacity to send letters of where his next heist will occur.
I take it you will accept this case without qualms or complaints.
You should know me by now, Everly. This is a request from the Queen herself. Those such as herself offer big rewards. It physically pains me to turn away the money, especially if the task is to get rid of a problem of this caliber.
I am aware of your character, as it is no different from any other human, drawn to and drowned by greed.
Everly chuckles without concealing a mocking undertone, maintaining a polite posture with his hand on his chest. It just occurs to me, I didn't even notice the music really until now. I'm going to turn it up slightly. There we go. Return. That's better. Is there something wrong with that? Surely you are also similar in some sense. After all, you are here, sticking by my side as my loyal butler. Would you still be here if you do not end up receiving something of value from our engagement?
Is that a rhetorical question by any chance?
A corner of my lip quirks up, but I conceal it by setting my elbows on the desk. I then intertwine my fingers together and position them so they are in front of my lips, obscuring the other's view. It would make no difference. We both know the answer already. Everly chooses not to reply, and so I too fall into silence. It stays like that for a few moments.
I stay by your side because your wish is my command. It's my job to help you fulfill your ambitions in life, So at the end of it all, you can pay the price without any regrets.
Are you implying you think of me as someone with a pile of regrets before me? I formed a contract with you not because I have regrets, but because I see this as an opportunity. To not do so would be my regret that you speak of. With my resolute words, we fall into silence once again, but in the end I speak again, this time switching the topic. Anyway, did you have any other purpose in coming here, or did you simply wish to check in with me and engage in small talk? Because if that is all, you are dismissed.
There is actually one thing before I leave. A matter to consider regarding this case, if you will.
I'm trying to decide if the sounds I'm hearing is raindrops on the window, and if so, it is strange because the window view outside is a bright blue sky. But I think it did say it was raining to begin. Just a little off there. But otherwise, I really like the art in this room a lot. I raise my brow in response. What could this so-called matter be? What do you have in mind? I plan on departing promptly to handle this case. My voice trails off as I reach for the cup again to take another much-needed sip of tea. I end up freezing in place when I hear him speak, my eyes widening as I process each word that passes through his lips.
I would suggest you present yourself not as the Earl, but rather as a countess.
It feels as though his words echo in my mind, and I cannot help but place the teacup on the table a bit harder than usual. The tea swishes in the porcelain cup, almost spilling out. I stare at Everly with narrowed eyes, sending him the sharpest glare I could muster. To my chagrin, though, it seems to hardly ruffle his feathers. Excuse me?
Would you prefer going out in public under the guise of an Earl, someone you are not?
It's not that.
Then what is it?
You are aware of my predicament, are you not? Never have I mentioned that I would prefer going out in public as an Earl. But as a countess, surely that is in jest.
It surprises me you reckon me as someone who would jest about a case that has been so plaguing these past months. The Earl Darlington is hosting a party in a week, in which the Phantom Menace will make his next move. Would it not be better to blend in with the other countesses there?
His counter-argument does little to sway me, and I only scoff back in response. I am not so incapable that I have to resort to such means.
Whenever did I say you were incapable, my lady?
You never directly said it, but you were implying it.
I believe we may have reached a misunderstanding.
Oh, just great. Irritation blooms in my chest, and it shows as I tap my index finger rhythmically on the desk. So, tell me, what exactly did I misunderstand?
I never made such a suggestion to imply you were incapable. It's simply a more efficient option, I would imagine. Does the prospect of getting the job done faster, and thereby receiving the reward faster, not appeal to you, my lady?
Of course it does. I would rather not go out as a countess, though. When Everly realizes this conversation is only going in persistent circles, he goes silent for a few moments. It looks like he is thinking about his next course of action. What is your real motivation for her going out as a countess?
And if you were paid to do so?
He really knows how to play his cards.
If it must be.
I suppose it would depend on how much you are offering.
A generous sum, if need be.
The offer slowly draws me in, despite my hesitation to go through with presenting myself as a countess. You sure are persistent. My voice doesn't come out as more than a small grumble laced with irritation.
Why, thank you, my lady. I pride myself in efficiency.
That was not a compliment. Anyway, how much? For the next few minutes, we negotiate on how much I will get paid in exchange for complying with the idea of going out as a lady. In that time, I am able to calm myself down a bit, quelling my exasperation. Eventually, when we reach an agreement, I sit back in my seat, lifting my hand to wave in a dismissive manner. You are dismissed. I would like some time to myself. The other hesitates for a moment, but then he dips in a bow before he leaves the room, gently closing the door behind him. Butlers, they're so pushy. When I hear the click of the door shutting, I slump back in the cushions of my seat. Dressing as a lady isn't exactly thrilling to me. On the other hand, though, it would be dishonest to say I enjoy my life as an earl. I dip my head slightly and close my eyes for a moment to recompose myself, and then I look up at the ceiling. The chandelier hanging from the heart of the ceiling illuminates its decorations, and for a while I opt to stare up with a blank mind. For my own sake, I should make this as quick as possible. I will be rewarded generously as well, so I'm confident it will be worth the trouble. In spite of my pep talk, a sigh still escapes from my lips. There is a heavy sensation in my chest, as if someone has taken my heart and tried to pull it out harshly from my chest. It's hard to explain it in words, but it is almost as though my body is challenging my thoughts and warning me of something to come. What that something is, I can only imagine at this point. If only things were truly that simple. I spare a glance at the letter lying on the table, which serves as a reminder of the upcoming party hosted by Earl Darlington. If the Phantom Menace truly attacks, I will have his head. A week passes by in what feels like a flash, perhaps because I have been so preoccupied with preparations. In lieu of slacks, I am now in a dress, and in place of boots are now heels. I haven't worn women's clothes in such a long time that it now feels foreign to me. Everly had brought in the dress, saying it would surely look flawless on me, as its color suited my character, bold and noble. The day has finally come. I hear the carriage stop in front of a large, glamorous manor that practically oozes with wealth. The plan begins now. Oh, thank you, Everly. That is a nice dress.
Have I already mentioned how absolutely stunning you look?
No, not as far as I can recall. Everly steps out of the carriage first before turning around to extend a hand to me, a charming yet unreadable smile playing on his lips.
Truly a splendid choice for a party such as this, my lady.
Well then, dare I say you look quite stunning.
That sounds backhanded.
I only hold the most genuine of intentions.
I shoot him a subtle, half-hearted glare before recomposing myself. Well, it's about time you start acting like my chaperone rather than my suitor who flatters me to no end. Everly's eyes narrow in amusement.
Of course.
Wow. You know who we look like? We look like Pocahontas from the second Pocahontas movie that nobody talks about. But she really looks like her. I do like that look a lot. It's gorge. Okay. As I stride into the room, I notice a couple of ladies turn toward me, pausing their own conversations to throw a curious glance my way before whispering to each other once again. Being in the presence of so many nobles who all hold their heads high and stand with an almost stiffly straight posture naturally makes me want to do the same. This dress really is effective at making me stand out. Just as planned.
Shall I relay that to the seamstress?
After this whole fiasco with the Phantom Menace is over. The ballroom is so grand that I pause for a moment just to let the bright scenery, illuminated by chandeliers that seem like they would cost a fortune, soak in. Just then I hear a voice bring me out of my trance.
You wouldn't happen to be Countess Culpepper, would you?
Ah, yes, that would be me. I am not completely used to being called Countess Culpepper, but it does go to show how Everly did his job without fail once again. The lady before me beams and gives me a curtsy.
Oh my, it's an honor to finally meet you. I have been hearing so much about you these days. I had not a sliver of an idea that Earl Culpepper had a sister. I suppose the world is truly a small place.
You know my brother and how secretive he likes to be. The fact that he had a sister was known only to him and his immediate family for a good long while.
Oh, indeed, he is a secretive man.
The lady flips her fan open and uses it as a prop to conceal her lips.
Say, would you care to grab some tea with me, Countess?
Immediately inviting me for tea without first introducing herself? I understand the rumors have caused excitement, but how rude of her. Despite my inner qualms, I respond with a strained smile. Oh, about that, I hope you will accept my sincere apologies, as I will not be able to accompany you. She chuckles, waving her hand.
Not to worry, I am content with simply meeting you. Let us connect another time, shall we?
Let's. I give her a nod and a smile in response. We wave to each other before parting ways. When I see that she is completely out of sight and talking to other guests, I turn to Everly, intending to dive right into business. I have done my research on some participants as well, but it would be good to check in with Everly. I take it you have gathered information about relevant people present at this party? Everly nods.
Whom do you wish to know more about?
I suppose we should start with the host of the party, Earl Darlington, as he is the one who is going to be robbed next, according to the Phantom Menace. He seems to enjoy being the center of attention anyway. I love his butterfly bow tie clip thing. That is delightful.
With this big party to show off his luxuries, it's really no wonder the Phantom Menace has chosen this place as his next target.
After all, the Phantom Menace does seem to have a penchant for targeting nobles of Earl Darlington's character.
Indeed. I could definitely start by investigating Earl Darlington as the Phantom Menace's target, but I'm sure there are other people as well. Let's see who else we've got. What do you know about the others? For example, Lord Marsden.
Ah, Lord Marsden. A dashing gentleman.
I let out a scoff. That is one of the most base observations I have heard in quite a while.
Oh, what were you able to gather about him then? Something absolutely profound, correct?
What do you take me for, a mind-reading goddess? I know just as much as the next person, unfortunately. It's quite bothersome how little information we have about him. Arguably, though, it's the very fact that there is not much known about him that makes him someone worth taking note of.
Are you taken by his ever-so-mysterious air?
If anything, I find that rather suspicious, don't you?
He is definitely worth investigating for that reason.
Oh, he's very pretty. His eyes are a little soulless, but the rest of him is very pretty. Can I... Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to see if I could... That is a really good look, I must say. Upon hearing Everly's agreement, I take a look around the room, trying to find what I know to be a handsome man with black hair. As I am looking, my eye catches the sight of many women crowding around one person, all vying for a chance to be near whoever was in the center. I turn back to Everly to confirm that the poor person surrounded by the many women is indeed the one we are discussing. That's Lord Marsden, I take it?
It seems so. What do you plan to do, my lady?
Lord Marsden probably seems like he might be my speed. Possibly. All these boys are so delightful, though. It's hard to... I'm gonna flip a coin for this one. Heads, I'll go see Lord Marsden. Tails, I'll stay with Everly. Hiya! Tails! Oh! Butler time. Delightful. I move a little closer to Everly, looking at him quickly. Please, stay with me for a little while. I believe we can work better together than separately. For now. Of course, I know that we may have to split at some point, but having someone near me makes me feel much more comfortable.
If that is what you wish, dear, then follow me.
Dear? My goodness. Everly guides me around the edge of the room, strange looks following us the whole way. Everly, do I want to know why everyone is staring at us?
I had to do quite a bit of storytelling in order to have your presence draw enough eyes.
Good storytelling or bad storytelling? I would prefer to get through this party without terrible rumors surrounding me, Everly.
Just storytelling. After all, you come from a family of eccentrics, and I've heard that some people really wish to get close to Earl Culpepper.
And what could be easier than becoming friendly with his sister who has lived in the country for years? I remember that part of the false life I am portraying, at least. Taking a deep breath, I try to adjust myself so I don't look on edge, and I assume I'm saying this in my head and not out loud to Everly. I give myself the proper image. The image of some naive, innocent girl who just happens to have an incredibly strange family.
I hope you remember all of the etiquette you've learned for these sorts of events.
You say that as if we haven't gone over etiquette every day for the past week.
I know you weren't really paying attention for much of it.
Everly glances out to the main floor for a few moments, watching people gather for the first of what will be one of many dances tonight. If the Phantom Menace doesn't interrupt them, that is.
Shall we?
He offers his hand to me, his smile comforting, even if many people wouldn't even call it much of a smile. Am I allowed to?
I'm not your butler tonight, dear. Just your chaperone. And a lady should have at least one dance with her chaperone.
I don't quite know if that's how these balls are meant to work, but I guess I can't argue with you since you're more knowledgeable on the matter. I take Everly's hand, letting him lead me out to dance. Even if our swirling around the ballroom together would be frowned upon, I still would have danced with Everly. Aww, that's sweet. After all, he's the only person I've ever had the pleasure of being so close and intimate with. The idea of dancing with someone else doesn't feel right. So, have you seen Darlington anywhere? He's the host of the party, correct?
Dear?
Just dear?
Yes, dear, he's the host.
Everly quiets down for a moment as he scans the room, trying to be subtle. The two of us quickly fall into rhythm, and I barely even need to look at Everly to know our next step.
I see him. Not quite sure if we'll be able to get close to him, though. He's completely surrounded.
Everly moves me slightly and guides my focus to a man standing on the edge of the main floor. As Everly said, he's surrounded by a group of ladies and lords, likely the result of some mixture of wanting to woo him and wanting to get some sort of deal with him. At least we know where he is. Now comes the more difficult part.
Well, maybe if you gain the attention of other lords, I'll be able to slip away while you dance with them.
I don't know. I trail off as more people enter the floor. I don't want to speak too loudly and get caught. Splitting up is the smart thing. We'll get information more quickly, more easily. Yet thinking of being apart from Everly just makes me hold his hand a bit more tightly.
I would like to speak to a few people in particular, dear.
I understand. And of course, the events of this evening will move quickly.
See, there was a reason you needed to learn how to dance.
I try my best to keep my face neutral, even though I know that despite Everly's ever-calm demeanor, he's pleased with how he's been able to tease me tonight. Really, Everly? I come up with an idea. A possibly terrible idea. Not the most ladylike of actions, but it's something to get back at Everly a little. What would happen if I just accidentally missed a step and stepped on Everly's foot instead? I feel like that could go badly, potentially. Let's not do it. I think about it for a long time, but eventually give up, letting my body relax and fall back into the rhythm of the dance with Everly.
You were going to do something, weren't you?
Me? I would never do anything improper, especially not at a ball where people are eagerly seeking to get to know me and my mysterious nature.
You're speaking as if you believe you aren't actually drawing any attention, dear.
Everly twirls me around, and in that moment I catch multiple pairs of eyes directed in our direction. Are they looking at me? At first I try to deny the attention I'm getting. As I settle in Everly's grip again, though, I reluctantly accept the truth. Maybe I should do something to make a fool of myself.
Remember what we're trying to do, dear. If you keep acting proper, it'll keep any prying eyes away when we need to do what is necessary.
I know, I'm trying to be professional.
So, don't make a fool of yourself. Just keep doing what you're doing and you'll be fine.
It's easy for you to say that. You don't actually have people wanting to speak to you.
They have to talk to me to speak to you. All you have to do is smile and dance with a few of them.
Surprisingly, though, I feel Everly shift me a little closer to him, almost protectively. Aww. For a moment, we're close enough that I can almost feel Everly's breath against my cheek. He doesn't stay that close long enough for me to savor it, though. How unfortunate.
Indeed.
As the music dies down to a soft lull, Everly offers his arm and gestures toward the side. I gratefully take his arm, letting him lead me over to a seat to rest for a bit. Not that my feet hurt necessarily, but I want to relax for a moment. Dancing in front of so many people is a lot different than dancing with Everly in my office.
Now remember, if someone comes up to us, I'll introduce you and they'll introduce themselves. Then comes the invitation to dance.
Everly steps a bit closer to the chair I'm sitting in to make room for someone to pass. I hold my breath for a moment, trying to not let the closeness overtake my sensibility. I can't lean into Everly as much as I want to. I just realized you could be making up half of what's supposed to happen during a ball and I wouldn't even know.
I could be, but I think you would be able to tell, dear. You are notorious for your ability to read people after all.
Are you trying to leave out how I've been stuck with you for the past... How long has it even been since we first met?
I don't bother with counting.
Of course. I snap myself back into reality, noticing how I've lost focus of the task at hand. I scan the room, trying to see if I notice anything different.
Can you find who Darlington is looking at?
I glance up at Everly before turning my gaze back towards Darlington. Even from halfway across the room, I can tell he looks annoyed now, staring off towards one of the corners of the room. Following his gaze, my eyes end up landing on a man dressed in dark blues and blacks. He stands off to the side and converses with a few people.
Okay, interesting.
Everly, I think I found whom he's looking at. Over there!
Greetings.
I find myself getting sucked into a short conversation with someone who came up to the two of us.
Greetings.
The Lord doesn't even allow Everly to finish speaking before jumping into an introduction.
I am Lord Dudley. Possibly you have heard of my remarkable business endeavors lately.
I haven't heard of his endeavors, nor do I really have any interest in them.
This is Countess Noelle Culpepper. I am her chaperone for this evening, Lord Everly Kingfisher.
The way the man stands while introducing himself, as if he's eager to move, tells me that I'm about to be asked to dance. And the way Everly looks at me tells me that I have to say yes.
May I have a dance with you, Lady Culpepper?
I would be honored to dance with you, Lord Dudley. I take the man's hand to let him guide me back to the main floor. Just before I leave, though, Everly quickly whispers something to me.
Dear?
Dear. Keep an eye out, dear.
I'll be dancing with someone other than my butler. I'm not sure if I'm going to like it or not. I mean, he doesn't even have a face. How can we like it? He's no Everly. Thankfully, at least, there are few words spoken during our dance other than pleasantries and compliments. It gives me time to focus and glance back at the area where I saw the man in black and blue. Gone. Of course. I can't see him anywhere in the light as I am twirled around in the dance, but I spot two shadowy areas that he may have tried to hide in. Just my luck, though. With the lords and ladies wanting my attention, I probably will only have time to observe one of them. the man could have gone towards the garden or towards the staircase. Which should I observe? Oh boy. Time for the coin again. Heads garden, tails staircase. Hiya! Ah! Yeah! Ooh! Aha! Gotcha. Tails. Okay. To the staircase. It takes a few moments, but I am eventually able to get a good angle to look into the slightly shadowed hallway. At first, there's nothing much to see. Just a few members of the staff walking in and out, and my heart falls a little. Then I notice a flash of blue in the corner of my vision. There. The man in black and blue is wandering around the entrance to the hallway. He's not entering, just watching. If only I could get to Everly so he could investigate this. My dance partner, pulling me almost uncomfortably close, stops me from being able to do so. Part of me wants to say something, but I don't want to sound improper, do I?
I must say, you're wonderful at dancing, Lady Culpepper.
The music is winding down. Good riddance. I'm able to step just a little bit away, waiting for Lord Dudley to hold his arm out. I could say the same for you. I take his arm, scanning the room for Everly again. We have to be fast. It would be quite the insult to have the Queen know we failed. I let the man lead me back over towards Everly, trying to not make it incredibly obvious that I was very glad to be done with the dance. My suspicions were right. Dancing only felt good when it was with Everly. Thank you. Good night. I don't even look at the man, paying more attention to Everly as I sit back down next to him. The music is at a lull again, and more people seem to be interested in conversation than dancing at the moment.
Were you able to find out anything?
I saw the suspicious man all right. He was heading towards a staircase in the hallway.
Deeper into the house. That's not great, is it?
He looks over to the hallway, tensing for a brief moment before relaxing.
Look, he's not going anywhere for a while.
I turn to look in the direction of the hallway, confused for a moment until I see what Everly has seen. Before being able to enter the hallway, the man in black and blue has apparently been stopped by a few women. Good for us. Should we try making our way over to him at least?
Of course.
But we can't go straight to him. Just follow my lead.
You're staying with me, right? I take Everly's arm after he holds it out to me, glancing nervously around the room. We've split many times for different reasons before, but for some reason I don't feel safe about the idea here.
If that is what you wish, then yes.
Everly gently guides me around the room, moving us towards where people are gathering for conversations. Conversation. How wonderful. Yay, my favorite.
The more information we have, the better, dear.
I almost laugh when I hear Everly's voice whisper in my ear. He can read me far too well. I was gonna say, man, he knows you very well. We have to act at some point.
I know, but not now. Look, dear, there's Lord Cudley and Lady Buckingham. We should speak to them.
You really believe they'll be helpful? Lord Cudley has been only here for a few months, and Lady Buckingham is just a gossip.
Nice to know you paid attention to me when I was teaching you about the peerage. But if Lord Cudley and Lady Buckingham know something, they'll probably be some of the few people willing to talk. Everyone is a little on edge tonight, it seems.
You're saying that to the person who's most on edge at this party.
You'd be surprised to know that is not necessarily true, dear. Now, let's try to get near the two of them before too many people gather around them.
Glancing in the direction of the Lord and Lady as we continue walking, I notice that we may be too late already. Lady Buckingham is already engaged in a lively conversation with some other ladies, while Lord Cudley is being continually approached by other lords. Should we try to listen in at least?
That may be for the best.
Everly slows our pace just slightly as we pass Lord Cudley, holding on to me a little more tightly.
Of course, those rumors are true at least. There are plenty of jewels and riches for any hard-working man to acquire. My full collection is back in India, but if any of you happen to be going that way, I would love to showcase what I have obtained.
jewels. Conversations about jewels could be important to dealing with a thief, but the Phantom Menace's calling card mentioned nothing about traveling to India to steal jewels. Why would he anyway, when there are plenty of jewels to steal right here at home?
I must say, though, I really do wish that our gracious host here was a little more willing to show off his own collection.
During my time here, I've heard plenty of stories of the family heirloom in his possession, but I have not gotten the opportunity to see it once. Does he always keep it hidden? I begin to lose the conversation as Everly gently tugs on me to keep walking. A hidden family heirloom. Part of me wonders if Earl Darlington would even notice if it went missing. I mean, if it's a family heirloom. Then again, the Phantom Menace likes people to know when he steals something. We would definitely know if something had gone missing already. Do we have to go near Lady Buckingham? We are getting close to her at this point, and I can feel my energy draining just from the amount of energy she and her group of attentive listeners seem to have.
Just don't get too close. I don't want to get dragged into that if I can avoid it.
Weren't you the one that came up with the idea of talking to her?
Talking to her is very different from being in a gossip session with her, dear.
And have you heard about Earl Culpepper? That certainly got my attention. I force Everly to slow down even more, listening to the conversation as closely as I can. I mean, sending his sister instead of coming himself. He must realize that it's difficult to hide behind that. Though, hearing about his terrible experiments on people, I could see why he wouldn't want to be in public. I've even heard that he scarred himself by doing them. I don't even notice that I'm moving towards Lady Buckingham until Everly tugs me away, giving me a concerned look. I'm fine, Everly. I do feel bad for the poor girl, though. Being forced into this place after living in the country for so long, all to cover up her brother's misdoings. I'm surprised she hasn't had a heart attack yet. She doesn't even notice I'm in hearing range. I shut my eyes for a moment, trying to stifle my laughter. If only she would leave her chaperone's side, right? He is quite the interesting man, and I would love to dance with him. Not just for finding out about the Earl, either. I wrap my arm more tightly around Everly's as I hear that, fighting the urge to throw a glare in her direction. There's no point in being protective of Everly, of course, but I feel like I have to. Finally, Everly drags me away from Lady Buckingham, glancing at me with a slight smile. I'm not sure if that helped as much as it could have. Mine, butler. Part of me wishes I could take my gloves off, feeling how sweaty my palms are getting out of nervousness. But of course that's improper according to etiquette.
Dear?
Dear. You did fine, dear.
Everly, you don't...
Pardon my interruption.
Oh. The man himself. I turn around and find myself nearly face to face with the man in blue and black, my eyes going wide for a second. Had he noticed us trying to spy on the others? The last thing I need is for someone to accuse me of any sort of wrongdoing. I need to stay composed. Deep breath. I give him my most convincing smile, glancing over at Everly for help.
Who may you be?
The name is Lord Cassius Marston.
This is Countess Noelle Culpepper, sister to Earl Culpepper. I am her chaperone for the evening, Lord Everly Kingfisher.
I give a slight curtsy, not looking Lord Cassius completely in the eye.
I've heard all about the sister of the mysterious Earl making an appearance tonight. I had to come and see if the rumors were true.
Rumors? Hopefully nothing terrible. Hopefully you got none of those rumors from Lady Buckingham.
Her words hold far more truth than you may think, dear.
I prickle up slightly at that. Even if it wasn't improper for this man to call me dear, I still didn't like it.
But this is a wonderful gathering, isn't it? Though it seems the host finds himself a bit more preoccupied than he likely expected.
My gaze quickly finds where Darlington is, still surrounded by people.
What a shame.
I was hoping that he could show me his paintings that everyone talks about. I guess I'll just have to make do with the gardens, then. Well, if you are making your way to the gardens, Lady Culpepper and I shall continue making our introductions with the other guests. Of course, of course. If you do come out to the gardens at some point, though, I will be there.
He bows and takes his leave, giving me an odd taste in my mouth. Glancing over at Everly, I see he has a matching look on his face. It's him, isn't it?
He really wishes for us to believe he is going to the garden, at least.
Which means he definitely isn't.
It looks like more people are beginning to dance again. I may be able to slip away once you start dancing again, too.
Slip away? What about staying together? I have to lower my voice a bit, feeling the presence of others coming near.
People will want to dance with you, dear. You are the mysterious sister of Earl Culpepper, after all. If we both try to leave, we'll get stopped.
Well, I'll just say no, then.
You know that's improper. We have to mostly keep face here, dear.
I let my shoulders drop, voicing my worries. And what if something happens to you?
Dear?
Noelle, dear.
He pulls me a little closer. Not enough to look improper, but enough to whisper to me without others hearing.
When your father accidentally brought me here, you saved me with your strength. It's that strength that gave me the power I have now. With strength like yours, nothing can stop me. Not even the contract.
Are you a demon butler?
Sir.
Sir? 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 The contract? Accidentally brought here? I have questions. We don't even know what the contract is.
Just trust me, please.
I can't say anything else as someone comes up to us. Another introduction, another invitation to dance. The pre-supper dance. I can't even focus on it, my mind swirling with the memories of when Everly and I first met. Of the strange powers my father was working with. Of the experiment gone wrong, leaving Everly torn from whichever realm he had come from and bleeding out on the floor. Of how something within me compelled me to save him, even as my father tried to panickedly get rid of the evidence. I hear Everly clear his throat and realize I have to make a choice. Stay with him and possibly ruin the mission, or let him go and worry myself ill until he returns. What will it be? I want to trust you, but when you leave people alone, that's when they die, Everly. Ugh. I love you. I can't let you go. I'm sorry. It's not that I don't trust you, but I don't want you to die. I hold my head a little higher, taking a deep breath. Screw being proper. My deepest apologies, but I am not feeling too well. I cannot dance at the moment. Everly looks at me, mouth opening for a moment as if to say something, and then he doesn't.
Are you sure about this?
I nod, giving one last glance at the man who wanted to dance with me before nudging Everly to guide me away. Who cares about etiquette? I'm not going to let Everly catch this thief by himself, and definitely not when the Queen's watchdog was the one asked to apprehend the Phantom Menace. As the music picks up the pace once again, Everly leads me into the shadows, away from the sights of everyone in the ballroom. No one is any the wiser of our disappearance, even the man who had tried to ask me to dance. Up the staircase.
Stay close to me, okay?
The two of us head down the hallway, listening closely for any movement from guards or from Cassius, if he's even the one we're looking for. Scratch that. He has to be. Not that he was particularly bad at hiding where he was heading, but he revealed just enough for Everly and I to be able to tell. Watchdogs are very good at reading people, after all. Do we even know where the study is?
I know. Don't worry.
He pulls me a little closer to him as we slowed down, now creeping around as we start to see more guards. I hold my breath, worrying that one of them will see us and demand an explanation. But before they can, a commotion distracts them. I'm able to determine fairly quickly which room the study is, as the two guards patrolling the hallway all rush to the same room. I look at Everly, nodding before quietly following the guards to the room. At this point, Everly places himself in front of me, peeking into the room first. Just in case, of course. Oh, I wonder who that could be. He's so well disguised. He's like Tuxedo Mask. Where the disguise is just absolutely impeccable. Cannot tell who that might be.
This is a little more than I expected. How terrible.
I get a glance of a masked Lord Marsden as I look into the room. Inside, I can see the moonlight glinting off of some metal piece as well as the shattered glass on the floor. He seems prepared to leave the two guards in the dust, reaching for something I can't quite see. The window. That's his only way out. I tug on Everly's arm, moving in front of him and signaling for him to follow. Thankfully, the door has been left open, and the guards are positioned far enough into the room that I can slip in behind them. Silently, I manage to make my way around the room, only spotted by the guards when I position myself between Cassius and the window. Everly is by my side.
Well, I must be going now. Apologies for not being able to stay for dinner.
He gives a bow to the guards as he picks up the signet ring that had once been in the now shattered glass and metal box, only to turn and stop when he notices the two of us. My apologies, but I don't believe we can let you leave with that. The Queen would not be too pleased.
I'm not looking for a fight here, my dear. Well, how fortunate then. I would have hated to get blood on my suit tonight.
Everly gently twirls his pocket watch in his hand, staring directly at Cassius, at the phantom menace. The guards begin to move closer to Cassius, and the decision must be obvious for him. Take on the two armed guards, or take on two seemingly powerless rich people. He heads for the window. I thought you weren't looking for a fight. Cassius tries to push himself past me, but I step on him, digging my heel into the top of his ankle. He certainly isn't expecting it. He stumbles back and his eyes go wide.
Just give up. You don't even know whom you're facing. I know I'm facing some rich people who don't seem to understand my mission.
What? Is your mission to knock out some guards and shove a lady out of a window?
My mission is to give something to those who have nothing. Why let this heirloom sit here, never to be touched, when the money that can come from it can feed dozens of people for a year?
And how far will you go to accomplish that mission? I'm face to face with Lord Marsden, but I don't back down. All I do is plant my feet, glaring right at him. The only way he would be able to escape is by shoving me down.
Oh, I promise, I'm not going to hurt you in the slightest. You better keep that promise.
The guards are practically on top of Cassius now. It feels nice to see the fear on his face. It feels even better to notice Everly's arm wrapped around my waist, leaning me into him slightly.
I know you don't have much power, but if you just let me go, you can change.
I have much more power than you realize. Now, maybe you should prepare more for your time in jail rather than yap your mouth all night. Cassius almost immediately places the signet ring on the table as the guards surround him, grabbing his arms and dragging him off. They don't say anything to us, barely even acknowledge us, but I don't mind. Well, that was easy. Especially because it allows me to lean into Everly a bit more as they leave the room.
Can we skip staying for supper?
I look up at Everly as I lean against his shoulder. For a moment, I can tell he wants to do the proper thing, but he relaxes and smiles.
Only if we can have some tea together when we get home.
Of course, Everly.
Down. Getting back is mostly a blur. Sneak out, get the carriage, have it take the slow journey back to my home, to our home, out of sight from anyone who would try to judge us. While Everly prepares the tea, I sit at my desk drafting a letter and rubbing my sore feet.
Noelle.
Oh, Noelle. I look up to see Everly place the tray of tea and scones on my desk.
We could sit by the fire if you'd like that. The chairs over there are more comfortable.
I think over here is comfortable enough, dear.
He starts to come to my side of the desk, grabbing a chair to pull up next to mine. Before he can, though, I place my hand on his arm.
You don't need a chair.
Oh my.
I grab his hand now, pushing my chair back slightly and guiding him to sit on my lap. He obliges, never breaking eye contact with me. One of his hands finds the back of my neck, massaging it gently.
You know, I wish you could have more power sometimes.
What do you mean?
Remember how the Phantom said that you don't have much power to change things? I wish you had power like that. The power to be in charge of the whole world, maybe.
Seeing his gentle smile is infectious, and I find myself smiling too, getting lost in his eyes.
I don't believe there's much we can do about that.
I'd do anything to change that.
Sounds like a lot of work, Everly. It's a good thing I like being a recluse, though. Less work for you.
Cute.
And I get to dance with you whenever we like. No interruptions.
Win-win. He takes my one hand and kisses my knuckles, his other hand beginning to trail down my arm and roll down my glove.
No interruptions. No worries about being proper, either.
Perfect.
Everly lets go of my hand, leaning in and cupping my cheek. I can almost feel the kiss before it happens, my eyes closing and my shoulders relaxing at his touch. I don't know how long we kiss for, ignoring the tea and scones that Everly had brought over, but it is more than enough to satisfy me. Feeling Everly that close to me, my arms wrapped around him to try to somehow bring him even closer. It feels right. It feels perfect. Yay! We did it! Oh, that was lovely. That is so interesting, though. I wonder what all that meant about a contract, and they couldn't remember what the contract was for, and it happened when they were kids, and she gave up her energy. Like, what does all that mean? Is she like a supernatural thing? Is he a supernatural thing? Are they both supernatural things? What happened to her dad? Did her dad die when that happened? How long have they been together? It sounds like since they were kids. But there was like some contract that was in place. Was it like a literal written contract that her dad put in place because his daughter gave some of her life for this guy? Or is it a contract, like a supernatural contract, like Black Butler contract? I got so many questions about that. But anyway, getting back to it. Voice actors, you killed it. Voice acting was good. Music was so good. The art was beautiful. I loved it. I had a great time with this. I wonder how the other endings end now. Oh, man. So many questions. But that is it for me, guys. Thank you very much for joining me. What a delight. I had a great time with that. Now, if you guys would like to check this out yourself and see what the other endings entail, I will leave a link for you down below to Itch.io. I hope you will go and check this out. It was great. Thank you once again, Oishi, for letting me know about this game. I had such a fun time playing it. And yeah, that's it for me, I guess, guys. Thank you once again for joining me. Until next time, I will see you later.